the first headline, and the biggest one is the big one off the bat. Former President Biden is diagnosed with aggressive form of prostate cancer. Joe Biden is 82 years old. He's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has metastasized to his bones. The diagnosis was made following medical evaluations prompted by urinary symptoms. His cancer has a Gleason score of 9, which basically means it's a pretty high-grade tumor. Despite the severity, the cancer is hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management through hormone therapy. Biden and his family are currently reviewing treatment options with physicians, and while the metastatic prostate cancer is not curable, it is treatable. And the biggest issue is because it has moved just from his prostate also to his bones. Since it's actually moved from one spot to another, it's harder to treat, although it can be treated and lived with as opposed to cured or killed. The hormone-sensitive cancers like Biden's can respond well to hormone therapy, potentially extending his life expectancy by several years. Advancements in treatment over past decades have improved outcomes with patients with advanced prostate cancer. Of course, lots of words from well wishes from many folks across the political spectrum. Donald Trump and his wife Melania sent out a message that was pretty quick, pretty simple. Vice President Kamala Harris, as well as former Vice President and, of course, former President Barack Obama, also sending well wishes were J.D. Vance and, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's talked about losing her father to cancer. And these people, many folks across the spectrum, put out these messages saying, all politics aside, no one should have to suffer from these things, and they wish the best wishes and speedy recovery and long-lasting life to Joe Biden. They don't have to agree with his politics, but they do have to agree that cancer basically sucks. Now, part of the problem, and there is a problem with this, was the diagnosis came in on Friday. And on Friday was a lot of hype for 2 new books coming out on President Biden and his decline that was going on as he was wrapping up his first and only term as president, and how it was hidden from the public and from many other people in his actual orbit, including his cabinet, didn't know what was going so bad. And one of the biggest things that CNN had to kind of mea culpa with was the fact that they did a lot of hype on a book that's co-written by Jake Tapper, one of their big anchors, and he did a lot of pushing on what was happening on that. Also, last week, there was a release of the audio from Biden, who talked to Robert Hur, who was doing some investigation on the documents case, basically trying to figure out what was going on with the documents they found in his garage. And he, at the end of his conclusion, said that Joe Biden did pull some documents, but essentially he was just an old guy with some memory losses and just sort of didn't know what was going on. He grabbed some things. He didn't know what they were. They just sat there dormant and were basically nothing going on, which Biden complained about. Biden also complained about this book, and he's on his tour to talk about how he's not declining. And while they're basically hyping the decline books, these books that many people are calling hit jobs and trash books, he's dealing with another issue. So Godspeed to Joe Biden with all the care he's going to get, because he's a former president. People are going to do what they can to help him through this. As we've said, no cure for what he has at this point because it just has moved so fast. But there will be ways to treat it, remedy it, and there is a good chance, a very good chance, that he gets a extended life from this going forward. He is already 82 years old, and we're not going to go to the good run type stuff right now because that's not where we're going. But there is a chance, the good chance, that he can live much, much longer and much healthier, if you will, that word life, as things progress. The biggest thing to worry about this is screening. This is a chance for men to remember your prostate screening is important, especially for older men. One of the things that people think may be the issue with this is that because Joe Biden is an older man, he may not be getting his prostate exams as regularly as possible, which is how this got missed, if you will. If he would have been elected president or reelected, he'd be 4 or 5 months into this term, and it'd be another serious issue on what we're going to do for the actual succession of Joe Biden, especially since now the question marks have a shorter period of question marks. Not just will he die of natural causes at older age, but now will this thing actually consume him faster? Godspeed, well wishes, many prayers, and power of positivity going out to Joe Biden in this fight.